Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Season 2 of The Spanish Princess. So, before I do head into my thoughts and feelings on the second and final season of The Spanish Princess, just a quick disclaimer, I suppose. I don't consider history to be spoilery, so this video may include some minor spoilers, especially if it is historic fact. But yeah, anything that is like any liberties that are kind of taken in this, I'm not going to go into like any specific details with that because that would be more spoilery topics. But yeah, for the most part, I'll be kind of maybe talking about some of the history a little bit in this video if the need arises. But yeah, I don't particularly plan on having any sort of spoilers in this video if that concerns you. And yeah, if you are interested, if you happen to stumble across this video for Season 2, I do have a video up for Season 1. I'll probably post that at the very end of this video if you want to go have a look at my thoughts on Season 1. So yeah, let's head into my feels, you guys, my feels about Season 2 of The Spanish Princess. So, where we start off with Season 2, it seems like maybe a year or so. Let's put it that way. It seems like maybe a year or so has passed, maybe a year and a half. It's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes passed since Season 1, but not too much time. And what this Season 2 specifically kind of tackles throughout all 8 episodes is the growing distance and perhaps even resentment that happens between Catherine of Aragon and the now King Henry VIII. Yeah, things start off lovey-dovey in episode 1. The episode 1 of the season is even called Camelot, kind of giving you this illusion of a future, a bright future of joy and happiness. And the thing too, that in episode 1, Henry and Catherine, they do have a living male heir who looks to be about maybe a year to a year and a half years old, which kind of helps with, the timing, from season 1, I guess. So you have the episode called Camelot. Henry and Catherine, they're very much still in love in episode 1. They have a healthy male heir. Things seem to be going pretty well, But yeah, us history nerds, if you love all things the Tudors, things are going to quickly go downhill, and that the very first episode of the season is just one little point of happiness, and it's going to quickly go whoop like that. So yeah, the whole of season 2, especially once this first male heir dies, because I think he dies in episode 1, doesn't he? Once he dies, it's all downhill from there, and we see the growing distance and resentment and kind of the hatred that grows between Catherine and Henry. And something I really liked that the season was kind of doing, how you do see this rapid progression of the distances. They lose their first son, for instance, and they very much are kind of still supporting each other. Henry is still upset, obviously, because, he's still upset, but he doesn't really blame Catherine for anything, obviously. And then, yeah, when she has that next miscarriage, there's a little bit of anger there on Henry's part because, yeah, Catherine went out to the Battle of Flodden when she shouldn't have, which may or may not have resulted in the miscarriage of that child. And there's still a bit of support there when you see the two of them, kind of on the ground, huddled with one another after she's just lost that child, But then, yeah, you get, like, the birth of the future Queen Mary. But yeah, Henry is just disgusted by the fact that Mary is a girl. And then, yeah, Catherine, how many miscarriages does she have after that? Because Catherine Reardon had quite a number of miscarriages, historically, I believe. The show tries to tackle all of those. But then, yeah, the next couple of miscarriages that happen after that, you see just that quick decline, you know, and Henry not supporting Catherine in her time of need, just really despising her. There's a lot of hatred there. So yeah, I loved what the show kind of did throughout the season, you know, and like I said, especially with that first episode, calling it Camelot, and everything's all happy, happy, happy. But then it just quickly, just from way up here in this corner, you know, it just, by the time you get to episode 8, it's way down here in this corner, with just the way they treat each other. So yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of the season, you guys. It's getting to the point that we all know that happens, essentially, you know, of Henry wanting to get rid of Catherine and wanting to marry Anne Boleyn, because we get the Anne Boleyn tease at the end, which is great. I'm definitely gonna talk about some of that near the end of this video, you guys. Don't worry. So yeah, what else does the season explore? The season also, I'm going to be looking at my notes, you guys, so I'm not sitting here rambling too terribly much. I feel like I ramble a lot. The season also explores, yeah, like I already mentioned, the Battle of Flodden. There's also a plague that happens like in the middle of the season, which is kind of interesting. A plague, if you've been living in 2020, you guys. And then yeah, we get the Cloth of Gold, which if you've seen the Tudors, that's a very familiar story arc. And yeah, of course, all of the religious tension that is kind of right at the beginning stages here as the season kind of quickly comes to its ends. Because yeah, once again, with the Tudors, there's the religious tensions heighten and heighten and heighten, even all the way on up to Queen Elizabeth, when Elizabeth becomes queen. So yeah, this season, it tackles a lot, you guys, and it's only 8 episodes. It's like, I wish this had been 10 episodes. It tackles so much, and in any given episode, you could be going through quite a number of years in just one episode. For instance, a good example of this is like in one of the episodes, Catherine finds out that Henry is having an affair with somebody, some mysterious mistress, and kind of early in the episode you find out that it's, if you know your history, it's Bessie Bluns who gives him a future son. So you get the affair going on with Bessie Blunt, and then in the same episode, I think the son is born and whatnot. And then there's like something else that even happens at the end of the episode. There's like so freaking much that happens in like that particular episode. So yeah, the show at times, what can be a little frustrating, I feel, especially about this particular season, what can sometimes be a little frustrating is that it moves maybe a little too quickly, which I think, like, if I'm remembering correctly, my complaint with season 1, I felt like the show was moving too slowly, because all of season 1 was kind of strictly focused on Catherine, you know, really wanting that aim, you know, that really specific aim of wanting to become Queen of England, no matter what, no matter the cost, she would do anything. Because we see her marry Henry's brother Arthur. Arthur dies, and then yeah, that flirtation, the struggle to try to eventually marry Henry, of course. And yeah, season 1, it's like season 1 at times almost felt a little too slow, and it's like I always kind of kept waiting for them to build up to a little bit more in that season. But then yeah, it's like I got my wish with this second season, that I wanted more to happen, because a lot more needed to happen, obviously. But then at the same time, it was kind of like, well, I feel like it's moving a little too rapidly now. Like I said, in any given episode, sometimes you would be covering a couple years, and you would really have to kind of keep track of where you're at, you know what I mean? So yeah, in general though, if I had to compare the two seasons, like which is my favorite season, I think I would definitely go with season 2. I liked everything going on in season 2 a lot better than I did what was going on in season 1. Because like I said, season 1 felt like it was just kind of really dragging out things for some unknown reason, you know, like unnecessarily dragging things out, which was a little odd to me. I definitely really preferred season 2. The pacing, even though, like I said, a little too quick in places, but still, the pacing was better for me. There was a lot more going on, a lot more interesting characters. Because season one was really kind of strictly focused on Catherine and Henry, Margaret Beaufort, King Henry VII, Elizabeth of York, and then yeah, Lena Oviedo, Rosa, of course. I tell you what, I was so glad Rosa was not part of season 2. I mean, she was part of 2 episodes. She was part of 2 episodes. The thing is, Rosa got some redemption. You guys, I'm glad to say. If you watched my review for season 1, Rosa was definitely like my #1 negative. I really hated her. She was really frustrating and irritating. I was so glad when she left in season 1. And then yeah, season 2, I really love that they gave some much needed redemption for the character of Rosa, because she came across as much more mature and likable, and I think even the actress had just grown immensely better as well with the character and even the accent, because I had a hard time with her accent last time. But yeah. What do you guys think? Did you prefer season 1? Do you prefer season 2? Don't get me wrong, I definitely loved both seasons. You know, both seasons are very enjoyable from start to finish. It can be a little absurd and cheesy sometimes, a little over the top with some of its historical liberties, but I mean, it's historical fiction for a reason, you guys. If I wanted to read about real history, I would pick up a textbook, a boring textbook. So yeah, the whole show in general, I loved it. Let's put it that way. And kind of just mentioning the historic liberties, because I've seen so many reviews for this show, and people just get so upset and angry about the historic liberties. It's I don't know. It just doesn't bother me. Historic liberties don't particularly really bother me unless it's just something so extreme and bizarre. Like, why would you do that? You know. You gotta think, at the same time, this is I said this with my review of The Crown as well. I just recently kind of reviewed The Crown. I'll kind of repeat it here for this video. You gotta think, this is a TV show with 8 episodes. You have to do certain things in that parameter, you know what I mean? Even though this show is based off of real historic people, you have to give them something to do, you know? You have to give them character arcs, you have to have story arcs, you have to do things that might not have necessarily really happened in the real history, if that makes sense. You have to fit in the parameters of a TV series at the same time, and you have to have an entertaining, engaging story in the process, or else no one's going to be interested to even watch this. Because if you stuck to the real specific history, things would probably be really boring and probably even slower, you know what I mean? So yeah, I historic liberties they honestly do not upset me. I don't let it get under my skin and irritate me. I've always loved historical fiction. Historical fiction is my #1 genre that I enjoy, whether that's books or TV shows or movies. And yeah, you just gotta, whenever you're watching something based off of real people and real events, I mean, you just gotta kind of know there's definitely gonna be artistic license taken, you know, and don't let it upset you. I don't know why some people get so bothered and upset about stuff, you know. Just take it as it is, you know, because that's what I do. So I'm going to quickly go down just some of the cast here very, very quickly, some of my highlights. Charlotte Hope playing Catherine of Aragon. Once again, she was a delight this season. I think her performance and the way she depicts this character, I think she definitely has grown and matured with this character with this second season. I'm definitely interested to see Charlotte Hope in some more projects in the future. I'm curious what she can do. The thing is, though, poor Charlotte Hope, even though she's a great Catherine of Aragon, I think she genuinely is a perfect young Catherine of Aragon. Even though she's great with this role, the thing is, I think she is easily outshined by some of these other fantastic female performances, you guys. That includes Laura Carmichael, who plays Maggie Pohl. Maggie Pohl, in both seasons, just one of the strongest of the female characters. Yeah, if you've seen The White Princess especially, you know, the story that Maggie has in The White Princess and everything that happened to her. And then, yeah, if you know even kind of the history going even back to the White Queen, you know, what happened to her mother, what happened to her father, yeah, leading into everything going on in The White Princess, you know how just the Tudors in general, how Margaret Beaufort, how everybody, even her own family sometimes, how she was treated, how her own family was treated. And I think that really makes Maggie a very sympathetic, interesting, compelling character. And Laura Carmichael just plays Maggie with just such a beautiful performance and just such heartbreak and sadness. And you can see that simmering anger and hatred just under the surface, you know, the hatred she has for the Tudors, and she's just kind of biding her time that she can kind of get hers one day. Another great female performance this season was Psy Bennett, who played Princess Mary, the sister of Henry VIII. I was very impressed with Psy Bennett as Princess Mary. Oh man, I wish we could have had like a whole damn season with Princess Mary. I freaking loved her. She had a really interesting story. And yeah, her relationship with Charles Brandon was so nice. I definitely shipped Charles and Mary. I mean, you gotta ship somebody in here other than Catherine and Henry, because you know where Catherine and Henry are going, so you need some other people to root for. But yeah, Psy Bennett was great. I tell you what though, if this show had, if they were to continue and do the other Boleyn girl, we'll talk about the other Boleyn girl in a minute. If this team, this creative team, had decided to go through and do the other Boleyn girl, it's a little upsetting that Psy Bennett couldn't have played Anne Boleyn, because the whole time I was watching this season, I kept thinking, oh, she's a great Princess Mary, but the whole time I was just looking at her and I was like, God, this is a great Anne Boleyn right here. You know, I was like, if she hadn't been cast for this role, she would have been great as Anne Boleyn, I think. But yeah, I loved Psy Bennett. And I think the top female performance, you guys, seriously, the #1 top female performance that absolutely blew me away this season was Georgie Henley, who played Princess Meg, another sister of Henry VIII. Georgie Henley, oh my god. I was super excited about Georgie Henley last season, because yeah, any Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe fans, all of us who love a little Lucy Pevensey, who was played by Georgie Henley, she's all grown up now. I was just so excited about Georgie Henley in season 1, and then this season, we got even more of her, which I was super thrilled about. Her character got expanded, her plot got expanded, she really comes into her own power. She's kind of going against Catherine and Henry because she gets really frustrated and upset with some things that they're doing and not allowing her to do. So there's a Georgie Henley's performance. Oh my gosh, she was on fire at any given time. She could play the really sweet and lovey moments here, and then she can play like angry, vengeful Meg over here. And oh, Georgie Henley is seriously, after this performance in this season, she needs to be cast in all sorts of other things, because yeah, they did not let her do anything in season 1, which was a shame. And yeah, this season they were really let Georgie Henley just go absolutely nuts and just let her loose, and it was amazing, and I loved it. Yeah, Meg, seriously, Meg, whenever it would go to Meg, I would always get excited because I always wanted to see what was going to happen and go down with her in Scotland. Okay, so let's move on. Is it Rory O'Connor? I'm still not quite sure how to pronounce his name. I think it's Rory O'Connor, who plays King Henry VIII. You know, I loved him in season 1. He gets to shine as a very young and vibrant and kind of mischievous Henry VIII. And I think this season, he really starts to step into that, you know, getting into the madness of Henry VIII, essentially. Because Henry VIII, he says some despicable things this season, he does some despicable things, and I think he really captured kind of that side of Henry VIII this season. It was really, really great. And then we have Philip Cumbus, who played Cardinal Wolsey. You know, Sam Neill played Wolsey in the Tudors TV show, and I was always watching this thinking, can this guy, can he top Sam Neill? Because I absolutely love Sam Neill. I think Philip Cumbus did a really great job, and I think he kind of does a slightly different thing, I think, compared to Sam Neill. You know, if you had to kind of sit and compare the performances, I think he kind of does his own thing. He manages to do his own thing. And yeah, he makes Wolsey, he's kind of this great villain. He's a great foil to Catherine. He just likes sucking up to Henry all the time. And it kind of makes him just really delightful at any given time. You know, he's just a real delight to watch at any given time. Just kind of oozing, you know, this false sincerity, and, you know, he's kind of vain and arrogant sometimes, it seems like. He's trying to act like he's not, but you know he is. I always loved when Wolsey was on the screen. Like what he would get up to, you know, and yeah, being so frustrated and hating him. I already mentioned Charles Brandon, played by Jordan Renzo. I really liked his role, kind of stepped up this season as well. And yeah, like I said already, I loved the relationship with Charles Brandon and Princess Mary. I shipped it. And can I talk about Ollie Ricks for a second, you guys? Ollie Ricks, who played Lord Stafford. If I'm remembering correctly with my review of season 1, I think I mentioned that, you know, Ollie Ricks, he's a good-looking man. His performance was okay, but I just didn't see the point of him in season 1. I am really glad, and I was pleasantly surprised, quite honestly, just kind of what they were able to do with him this season, because I feel like he was just vastly underused in season 1. And yeah, this season, they really put Ollie Ricks to use. They get to kind of the historic stuff where Lord Stafford, the Duke of Buckingham as he's called, where that character eventually winds up. His performance just is top-notch this season. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, he has some really great moments in, is it episode 7? I think it's episode 7. Him and Charlotte Hope have just a really good chemistry in episode 7. It's really heartbreaking, some of the stuff that happens in that episode. If you've seen that episode, I really enjoyed Ollie Ricks this season, especially after kind of just season 1 being disappointed with that. And yeah, the whole thing with Rosa, like I said, I just did not enjoy Rosa last season, and that kind of included poor Ollie Ricks, Lord Stafford, in the process as well, because he was part of the whole Rosa thing. This season we also have the introduction of Andrew Buchanan, who plays Thomas More. I was really excited to see Thomas More this season. And oh my god, the show, you guys, is this a show thing, or is this a book thing by Philippa Gregory? I've said in the past that I'm a huge fan of the Philippa Gregory books. I've read almost all her books, but there's a scattered few that I have not seen, and I think there is a book that's very more specifically focused on Maggie Pohl that I've not read yet, which is a shame. So I don't know if this is a show thing, or if this is something that did happen in the Philippa Gregory book that the show incorporated, but a big historical liberty, yeah guys, that this show takes. There's like this romance between Maggie Pohl and Thomas More, you guys, and at first I was like, what the? It was kind of one of those moments like, what the? This didn't happen, what's this about, you know? But I think by the end of kind of the episode, you know, as their relationship was starting to kind of progress, I was like, okay, this ain't accurate, this definitely did not happen, but I'm gonna ship it either way because I am loving it. Maggie and Thomas More, they're like perfect for each other, but that's like the great tragedy. You know, it's the great tragedy that they can't really get together, because yeah, he's a married man already. But still, you can dream, right? But yeah, I love that. I really loved Maggie and Thomas together. Their scenes were always just so good. It's two great actors together. Yeah, not historically accurate by any means, but it's still kind of a nice little, well, what if? You know, what if they had a crush on each other, you know? And then the show, yeah, I'm not going to get into spoilers, like I said, because since this is something kind of made up here, yeah, kind of how that ends, that relationship kind of progresses by the time you get to the end of the season. It is kind of upsetting. But what can you do? Let's talk about Stephanie Levy-John and Aaron Cobbin, who play Oviedo. I love how Lena always says Oviedo with that accent. But yeah, Lena and Oviedo, you guys. What happened? What happened this season? Lena and Oviedo were a huge pivotal part of season 1, I feel like. And yeah, it's like they get their happy ending, they get married, and it's like all of a sudden they're kind of boring. Is it just me? All of a sudden, poor Lena and Oviedo are kind of boring. It's like they're living their nice happily ever after, they're having their children. Poor Lena is just constantly getting verbally abused by Catherine, you guys. It's like Lena is just trying to do her job, you know? She's trying to do her job as, you know, a handmaid or a lady in waiting to her queen, but at the same time, you know, also trying to be a loyal, supportive friend. But then, yeah, Catherine is just kind of always constantly bitching at her about something. So yeah, poor Lena and Oviedo, you guys. They definitely got pushed to the side of this season. They still had their moments, you know, they still got their moments to shine and do something, but yeah, definitely nowhere near as the amount of attention they got last season. Yeah, I mean, this season, you know, it definitely was not about them. You know, this season had multiple other things to tackle because you had everything going on with Catherine and Henry. You had Meg's story, you had Mary's story, you had Maggie and Thomas's story. You know, you had all these other moving things going around that had to get to a certain point by the end. And I think, yeah, Lena and Oviedo had to kind of be dropped a little bit, unfortunately. So that's kind of it for like the cast. Something I keep bringing up the Tudors, the TV show The Tudors that starred Jonathan Rhys Meyers as Henry VIII and Natalie Dormer as Anne Boleyn and whatnot. I've kind of brought up the Tudors several times in this video, and that's something I wanted to kind of quickly go over in this video as well. Kind of comparing this season to the Tudors, like more specifically season 1 of the Tudors. Season 2 of The Spanish Princess and season 1 of The Tudors, it's pretty much kind of the same thing. If you haven't watched season 2 of this show yet, it's going to be very, very similar to season 1 of The Tudors. Not every little thing. There's quite a few things that season 1 of The Tudors did that Spanish Princess doesn't touch, obviously. But yeah, like the cloth of gold thing is handled in both shows. The beginnings of Anne Boleyn is in both shows. The fallout with Catherine of Aragon is in both shows. Yeah, the death of Lord Stafford, aka the Duke of Buckingham, that's tackled in both shows. Yeah, Wolsey, Thomas More, you know, everything. There's a lot of similar running threads. And I think what makes season 2 of The Spanish Princess, what makes it stand out so that way it's not this total copy of season 1 of the Tudors, is kind of that fleshed out story arc of Meg, Princess Meg and Princess Mary, Henry's sisters, because even in the Tudors, is it Mary? Yeah, there is a Mary, if that's her name, or is it Meg? I can't remember which one. There is a version of one of the sisters in season 1 of the Tudors, but they kind of blend her and kind of make her both Meg and Mary. So yeah, that's, because seriously, once I started watching this season of The Spanish Princess, I kept thinking to myself, I just feel like I'm watching the Tudors again, but yeah, you know, just different actors. So fortunately, there are a few little things in there that help separate it from season 1 of the Tudors, thank goodness, because there are different little liberties taken here and there. But yeah, I'll tell you what, I watched Spanish Princess, now I want to watch the Tudors, you guys. I haven't watched the Tudors in such a long time. So yeah, The Spanish Princess is done. It was kind of just arranged to be a 2-season thing to begin with. And my understanding, the creative team behind The Spanish Princess, they have no plans to move on and do something like the other Boleyn Girl or like the Boleyn Inheritance, which are like the next books from Philip and Gregory that tie into this whole thing. The creative team, they've been kind of working on a lot of this for quite a long time now, because if I'm not mistaken, this whole creative team, they did The White Queen, The White Princess, and now these 2 seasons of The Spanish Princess. And it sounds like they're just kind of a little, you know, kind of weary of the topic. They want to move on and do something else, it sounds like, which is a shame. It is a shame that we're not going to get like the other Boleyn girl, you know, because I was very excited for the show to possibly move on and kind of a combo of the other Boleyn girl with the Boleyn inheritance, because I think you can do it kind of like another 2-season thing with those 2 books combined, actually. So yeah, to my understanding, no other Boleyn girl, you guys, which is a little sad and frustrating. But yeah, if you want to know what happens after the Spanish Princess, you can always stick in the Natalie Portman movie, the other Boleyn girl. But yeah, you guys. Overall, the Spanish Princess, it had its problems here and there, but for the most part, I really loved it. It was like this really juicy soap opera, you know, it's full of gossip and scandal and murder and death and craziness and insanity and just all sorts of stuff, and powerful leading ladies. I love both seasons. I definitely preferred season 2 over season 1. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss this cast of characters. And yeah, the way this series ends, it does kind of almost have this bittersweet ending, because Catherine ends the season, you know, full of kind of hope for the future and kind of this firm stance of, hey, it don't matter what Henry does, I'm always going to be his wife. But yeah, if you know your history, you know that's not going to be the case, and you know that a lot of tragedy and sadness is kind of on the horizon for poor Catherine of Aragon. But yeah, you guys, did you guys enjoy the 2 seasons of The Spanish Princess? Did you enjoy this season specifically? Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.